In terms of succeeding, I think in today's world, there's two things I think are important. One is that truly understanding the collaborative nature of supply chains and how the integration of supply chains success there is part of how you're connected to the rest of the world. And that dictates supply chains control about 90% of your cost. So a focus there is very important. And then for us as a company, we've really embraced sustainability as part of what we see as the future. So I think that companies to really get a very clear understanding, and that includes not only at the strategic level, but throughout all of their staff and throughout their process, to really think about how sustainability impacts their business and how they can use that as a growth engine. So I think those are the two things. Sustainability is really a growth driver. In fact, we've seen much success with it because it does several things. One, it moves you from the mindset of risk, that risk is being where you focus, to really one of how risk can drive innovation, and that becomes more towards the direction of sustainability. The first place is that energy savings. Energy savings can never be something you can do enough of, and energy is an ever-increasing cost. And energy, though, if you can lower the amount of energy in your products, in your business, that plays out over the long term. So I think that energy savings are definitely one. Another one is that if you really embrace the idea of sustainability and engagement amongst the community, amongst your stakeholders, amongst your employees, that really improves your viability as a business for the long term. So if you think of sustainability as sustaining your performance, regardless of the other aspects of it. Another one is that if you really begin to embrace sustainability, as we have in many of our process businesses, it actually, because you're interrupting sort of the concentration of energy in fossil fuels, you're interrupting it because you're stepping in at the plant basis or something, it takes actually less energy to produce goods. It requires capital investment in a different way that may not be the same traditional way. So it really causes you to refocus, and it really drives your thinking, and it starts to cause you to innovate if you really embrace it, the way that you actually build your businesses and how you're going to do so in the future. I often get the question of, DuPont is big, it's global, you have the power of science, you have this big commitment to it, and how can that work in smaller companies? Well, the answer is we actually started very small in many ways. And so, business projects I've worked on have started very, very small. One of the reasons that I do so much work with the Apics organization is because it's meant to bring knowledge to any size business at the practitioner level. And so much of the concepts around sustainability, which is the visibility that you need, which is the knowledge of how to make improvements along the value chain, can be accessed by almost anyone. And then you have to learn methods to apply that information. So the information is out there. It takes a shift in your thinking, but it's completely accessible. And if you start with something very small, like saving more paper in the office or using less electricity, all the way to developing products that are more sustainable, or certainly working with your supply base. Those are all very accessible to the individual practitioner in a certain role and to any size company. So it is not limited at all to big companies, and we started very small when we started with it.